On my left, on your perhaps right, is one of the key symbols of the city. Actually, it is a statue dedicated to the mastery of local artisans. It's called the Left-Hander. There is a story written by Nikolai Leskov. Try to find it and read it. It's a very philosophical one, actually. It's called The Left-Hander, and it is about a master who shoot a flea, as in without any optic lenses, anything, just his keen eye and his masterful execution of the procedure. Sounds weird, but here it is. The Left-Hander, the master of the masters. It is also one of the local tourist attractions, a horseshoe. In Russia we have this belief that if you start living in a new home, you are gifted with a horseshoe in order to have all the luck in your house, and it should be this U form, not vice versa, because otherwise all the happiness will leave you. I actually made a photo with it. Maybe it should bring me some luck here.
Now, boys and girls, let us not stall. We are going to the Armament Museum of Tula. Here we are.
If you are fascinated with weapons and stuff, you should come here to the Museum of Armament in Tula. It has lots of subdivisions all across the city, but this particular one is one of the biggest, and it's like the main building. Yes, the history of armament in Russia, as in global armament of the whole country, begins in the 18th century when the then Tsar Peter the Great, or Peter the First, the founder of St. Petersburg, if you might know, or if you don't know, just so you know. When he came to Tula, a city of masters at that time, with a blacksmith called Nikita Demidov. They came, and Peter decided that since it is already a city of masters, the whole armament production would begin here. Why? Because Nikita Demidov, a stubborn, fabulous man, he has shown Tsar that Russian blacksmiths, Russian masters can be just as good as the European ones, if not better. And so it began. The first factory was built in the city, and then it spread and spread until most of the weapon industrial buildings were located here. This city and its masters supplied Russia with arms during the First World War, the Russo-Japanese War, the war with Napoleon even, which was in 1812. Yes, so 1812, First World War, Russo-Japanese War, Civil War, Second World War. And those people who worked here are the unknown and unnamed heroes, because if not for them, perhaps there wouldn't even be any one of us.
Alright, guns, weapons, I get it all. But there are much more interesting places in Tula. Right now we are going to one of the most famous museums of this city.
In Tula there are 3 main museums you should visit if you want to enjoy this place and understand that the locals and what they lived like and what they enjoyed. 3 museums and 1 place. Speaking about museums, is the Armament Museum, the Museum of Russian Pryanik. It would be at the very end because it's a bit far away from the rest of tourist attractions. and this one. And this one is the Museum of Russian Samovars. Samovar is like a big, huge teapot, because at that time people, even if they had a teapot, you couldn't, put the kettle on the gas. You should do something a little bit different to boil hot water. Yes, and that's how samovar appeared. And actually the museum here in Tula dedicated to them is very big. In Tula they appeared as a result of boredom, because people living here were primarily arms masters, weapon masters, and during their free time they had practically nothing left to do, so they began tinkering. Yeah, we like tinkering, do it quite often, and so they began tinkering, and that's how first samovars appeared. And Tula is so famous for its samovar that we have a saying: to go to Tula with your samovar is like going to Newcastle with your coal. Lots of stuff here, doesn't need any more to be introduced. And Chekhov, actually, if you read him, he said once that going to Paris with your wife is like going to Tula with your samovar. But don't you dare to believe him.
There is no doubt, in my opinion, that Tula is definitely a city of masters. There are ancient walls and beautiful buildings. There are statues and monuments to the warriors, and there are wonderful, amazing cathedrals all around. There are remnants of the past, monuments in remembrance of Leo Tolstoy, and art installations dedicated to the left-hander and the flea he shoot. There are many beautiful things, but now stomach calls. So let's have something sweet and traditional for Tula. A pryanik!
They say that unfortunately, although sweets are the best dish, they should be reserved for the dessert. And now we have the dessert, or like the ending video from Tula. This is the main museum/shop in Tula, called the Museum of Gingerbread, or in Russian we say пряники. Пряники as in lots of gingerbread, and one piece of is пряник. Yes, originally gingerbread was known since ancient China and so on, but in Tula it appeared about 300 or 400 years ago, and lots of them with jam, with sugar, with applesauce. I like the one with applesauce, made of rye wheat, honey, spices, and so on. Absolutely amazing. You should come here and not only see the biggest gingerbread in Russia, or the smallest one, but also try them all. Yes, because they are so good, you are not gonna be able to stop eating them. Yes, and speaking about etymology of pryanik, pryanik is from pryani, and pryani is spicy or spice. So yes, spiced bread was the first type of Russian gingerbread, Russian pryaniki here in Tula. I'm gonna go and eat some. I wish you have a nice weekend. Stay with me next time. I'll go somewhere else and show you more of history and beauties of Russia and its cities. See you. Bye bye.